Hi everyone, this is Liz from Creative Life of Liz, and I am here to share my 2024 book bullet journal, book reading journal flip through. This is going to be for the first quarter, so we're going to cover January, February, and March in this video. But to start out with, this is an Artist Loft dot grid that came from Michaels, and I'm going to start out with the main 2024 pages. So the cover page, which I have realized after being like, why does this look weird for the whole time? That in actuality, that's not how you spell journal, but it's fine. And we're just gonna go with it. Good enough. And then I have my grid guide page here, which is super useful. This is probably one of my most used pages, honestly, in this entire journal. And then we get to the first of the pages that I have bookmarked. Full disclosure, I am filming this on November 20th. So I still have quite a bit of the year to go, like 5.5 weeks or something. 6 weeks almost. But that's what my schedule allows. So that's where we're at. So this page has my pages read by day in chunks of 50. I'm finding that this really pressures me into reading a lot, for better or for worse, because I kind of want to get to one of these 50s, or if I'm already at like 240, I'm like, well, it's just 60 pages to get over 300. So I read a lot. So this is what it looks like over here. And then over here are my goals. I'm so far keeping up with those as well, pretty well. Flipping over, this is a page I added in April when Our Fantasy Bingo started, which has my Our Fantasy Bingo. And then what I'm filling in the prompts is on underneath. And then I have the buzzword readathon here as well. So keeping up with those pretty well. And then paperbacks and ponytails, read around the world-a-thon. I did that quite a while ago. The next annual one is Pop Sugar, which is always a challenging one for me. Well, I would say of the 45, 50 prompts, depending on the year. So let's call it 50 prompts like this year. I would say probably 15 to 20 are pretty easy. And then there's another like 10-ish that if I put in a little work, I can make them fit with the things I'm reading otherwise. And then the rest, I just kind of have to read books specifically to fulfill the last few prompts. Things like starts with the letter X, I have rarely or ever had that kind of prompt end up organic, for example. So I'm trying to finish this off, and hopefully by the end of the year, it'll be done. I should probably do something with my 2024 stats in January, and you'll be able to see however this turned out, I think. And then Romanceopoly, I did finish this one off, and I do like how that turned out. And then finally, Adventures in Aldea, also keeping up with that one. So that covers all the yearly prompts. Hopefully you can read everything. I'm really excited. My lighting's slightly weird, but hopefully it works out, okay? Moving in to January. This is my January setup, and it might actually be my favorite setup of the year. I really like how clean this edge is here, going all the way to the edge, not just to the edge of the dots. I like this font with the really big J. I did 4 Romanceopoly prompts. I had a few priority reads. Some of them were ARCs, some of them were not in January. And then getting into the books I read. I started out with an E.M. Lindsay book. I think I must have had Kindle Unlimited in January. I kind of have it sometimes and don't sometimes. But I must have had it in January to read an E.M. Lindsay book. But I know that their books tend to always be very emotional and impactful. So I wanted to start out with at least a book that was going to be pretty good. And I got 4 stars. So that was successful. I was getting quite a bit of reading done here at the beginning of the year. So yeah, definitely had Kindle Unlimited and was reading a lot of like indie or self-pub kind of books here. I participated in Final Book Support Group and finished all the prompts for whatever one this was, probably a week long. Might be just a weekend, not sure. Either way, I finished all of that. Getting some more reading done. And then just a few more books here to finish it off. Chloe Lee's book also tend to be very impactful for me. This one, it looks like I was reading as an ARC, so that's always exciting. And then we get into my book summary, which I also actually put washi on, which I did not do for most months, so it looked super beautiful. So my favorite read was Ever After Always by Chloe Lees. I really also enjoyed The Carnal Tower by E.M. Lindsay, and I was disappointed by Only Mine by Laura Pavlov. It just was, I guess, kind of mediocre. But I had my top 5 E.M. Lindsay books: Most Ardently by Gabe Cole-Nova, Leviathan Fitness Series by Ashley Bennett, Ever After Always by Chloe Leese, and The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. I'm not sure when in the year I decided to just stop telling why I picked them as my top 5, but I did, which is also fine. I do enjoy this page. I don't know if I'm going to keep it up with like a 2-page spread in 2025, but I do like having a few like notes and things like that to look back on, because I do read quite a bit. And so some of these I don't remember everything about them, and it's nice to kind of get to look at what I thought in real time again. Here are my reading stats for the month. I apparently read 31 books with 8,700 pages. And overall, a pretty good reading month, I would say. Covering mostly romance, which tends to happen when I have Kindle Unlimited, but also a mix of ratings, a mix of new and known authors, a mix of own voices books, a mix of years, formats, stuff like that. Moving into February, the spread looks very busy, but it is colorful and fun, so I enjoy that. And I do like this font that I used. I think that looks really cute. I did get 4 more Romanceopoly prompts done, and I had a couple of arcs for Under the Cover book blog as well. I did the X's and O's readathon, finished all the prompts there, so that was also pretty fun. That looks like it was a 5-day readathon here, and I was on Team O's. Over here, getting some more reading done. Another Chloe Leese, always emotional. Gave it 5 stars. I did Polarathon, hosted by JD Ray Reads. This one went back to back with the other one. I managed to get a pretty good amount done for this week in things that were either polar fantasies or kind of had some amount of vibes to go along with it. So some mixture of both. I would say, let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 of them I would consider polar fantasies. So pretty good, I think. I'm getting some more reading done here. And then this page just with more book. This is like my short summary. I do keep a spreadsheet as well with some additional stats that I keep track of. I did the Literature Readathon hosted by Steph Loves towards the end of the month. And then, oh, I got Wolf Song in there, which was a 5-star read. I have not continued that series since then, so probably should do that. But it was really good. And then a few more books here. And then I had some empty space, so I put in a quote. Not very well centered, but I like the quote and I think it's cute overall. Here's my book summary stuff. My favorite book was If Only You by Chloe Leese, so another Chloe Leese. I also really liked Float Plan by Trish Dollar. That one was super emotional. Disappointed by Followed by Frost, just because I felt like the bad behaviors of characters were not necessarily punished the way I would have liked them to be. Top recommendations: the Bergman Brothers series, State of Mind by E.M. Lindsay, How to Win a Breakup by Farrah Heron, The Glass Universe by Tava Sowell, Float Plan by Trish Dollar, and Surely You Can't Be Serious by the ZAZ. This comes from the Airplane the movie. It's about that. Book stats: I read 40 books for a little over 10,000 pages. Pretty good split on relationship to author and own voices. I try to be around 50-50 on both these measures, roughly. I don't do it super consciously, but roughly in that range tends to make me feel like I did okay for the month. Again, a lot of romance, but some other things mixed in. Really good mixture of years published, a bit of a mixture of some formats there. And then the last month we're going to look at in this video was March. We were in Paris, so I drew a kind of janky but kind of cute Eiffel Tower here with like a scripty kind of font. I got 3 of the 4 Romanceopoly prompts I rolled done for the month, which was pretty good for how busy I was. Also read a couple of arcs. It was Realmathon. So these are all the things that you could do for points for Realmathon. So for this one, I ended up just putting the points with each individual book. And then I just put my total points down here at the end, how many I added, how many I subtracted from each of the other realms. So you can see like I show my math here for each book because every book was going to count. It seemed the most logical way to put it in. But going through, let's see, Daisy Darker. I enjoyed that one. I listened to it on audiobook. That was quite enjoyable. I made some progress on the Adventures on Trains series, which I would like to keep continuing at some point. I really enjoy it. It's super fun. Lunar New Year Love Story was really good graphic novel. Some more reading over here. Talia Hibbert, always a good choice. Some more Chloe Leese, more 5 stars there. And let's see. I read Home by Nnedi Okorafor. That's another one that I had not continued the series for a long time. Binti is the first one in that, so I'm glad that I finally finished that. Or at least made progress in the series, because I kind of left it for a long time. And then just a few more books here. And let's see. Favorite read was yet another Chloe Leese. This whole quarter was just Chloe Leese. I mean, that's fair, to be honest. Or at least showing up as one of the top. Most excited about was the book called The Bomb, The Weapon That Changed the World. That one was really good graphic novel and very interesting for sure. Biggest disappointment was A Holly Jolly Ever After. I actually DNF'd it because I just didn't like the characters, and I'm a very character-driven reader, especially for romance. Top books of the month: Only and Forever by Chloe Leese, The Bomb by Didier Alcante, Laurent Frederic Boulay, and Denis Rodier. Free for All, Oddballs, Geeks, and Gangstas in the Public Library by Don Borchert, maybe? Sorry, that's not correct. Kind of an older book, but still really fun to read. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I just enjoy books that kind of poke fun at tropes, but in a fun, tropey kind of way. And then How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang. That was really good as well. In my book stats, I read 32 books for 9,800 pages. My own voices split was pretty meh overall, but my relationship to author was pretty good. I read reasonably diversely in terms of genres, and a bit of a mix in the romance genre, and kind of a bit of a mix in terms of years, format, things like that. And with that, that's all I'm going to cover for this video. So as always, please like and subscribe below if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. Let me know your favorite book of the first quarter of 2024, or if you have any book recommendations for me, I would love to hear about those as well. Follow me on Instagram at Creative Life of Liz. You'll see in progress and finished spreads in most of my planners, as well as bits and pieces of my life, what I'm reading, all that good stuff. And until next time, bye.